Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ferret Business Podcast. I am your host, Yummy the Ferret, aka Yummy, and with me today is the Goat Gaming couple who must be sacrificed to appease the YouTube gods. They are two Let's Players who play a multitude of games including Last of Us, all the way to Zelda. It's Derpy Goats Gaming. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks.
How's it going?
Their links will be down in the description below, so if you want to check them out, please do so. Twitter and YouTube, of course. How you doing, guys?
Doing good.
We are pretty good. Just got home not too long ago, ready to relax.
You know, I actually just got a haircut today, and they kind of screwed me a little bit. I don't know if you've ever seen the Amish, but I got the Amish hair going on right now, and I am hair grows back. Hair grows back.
I mean, it could be worse.
So I always cut Hubby Goat's hair, which for him, by the way, is just literally just shaving it with absolutely. There's no effort involved. It's just take the razor or the what's it called, clippers, and just shave. There's no guard. There's nothing. It's super easy, and without fail, every single time it's like it'll get just a little bit too long, and he's like, "Hey, can you cut my hair?" And like 2 weeks later, I still haven't actually managed to cut his hair, and so then he just does it himself every time.
Ooh, I used to cut my hair myself too. It's just a straight buzz. Never looked too good, that's for sure.
Yeah, the few times that I've like gone to visit family, when I've done that, they're like, "So who cut your hair?" And I'm like, "Me." And they're like, "Yeah, it shows." I'm like, "Thanks, guys."
Well, you see, I laid down, I had the goats eat my hair, and here we are.
There you go. There you go.
Wifey Goat, have you ever had any terrible haircuts since, you're the one who actually does something with her hair?
Yes and no. So, I mean, so I'm not super picky about my hair. I pretty much just want to be able to run a brush through it and go, which is actually why I have now chopped it all off, because it's super easy to deal with. But I have had a couple of times where I was like, oh, I'm going to try something new. Let's try bangs, for example. And bangs don't look good on me. I thought that they would, but they really don't. My hair does not work for that. It's got a little bit too much wave in it, so it looks bad. It's bad. So but that's my own fault. It's not that.
I mean, I'm sure you're exaggerating it.
No, it's bad.
I haven't seen you in bangs. So
no, that would be why.
I think Hubby Goat, have you ever had the bowl haircut? Because I remember back in elementary school, that was what I had.
I rocked for years what I call the I like to like joke with myself about it, but I call it the douche swoop, which like everybody like, you would flip your hair to the side and it would have that like Nike symbol kind of going on in your hair. Yeah, the J-Beebs.
Ooh, that was high school for me. That was
what I did from middle school through high school, just about until like senior year, and then I started cutting it shorter, and then college came around. I was like, I'm gonna start buzzing it because I don't like having to deal with it.
No, actually though, so he didn't used to buzz it with absolutely no guard on it. That is completely my fault. Because the night before we were gonna have our engagement pictures done, I was like, okay, well let me just shave your head, and then you'll be good to go. And we got to talking and whatever, and I had taken the guard off to do like around his neck, and I kind of forgot to put the guard back on, and I went like straight to the middle and he took a giant chunk out. So
yep, stuck with it ever since.
Well, the deed is done and you just gotta keep going, I guess. All right, so the term Derpy Goats, Derpy Goats Gaming. Why Derpy Goats? Why not a different animal like dogs or cats or salamanders? I don't know. Why is that?
Well, actually, funny. So salamanders were a really close second. But
no way. No,
I'm totally kidding. But no, so goats. It really kind of started with Derpy. because that is pretty much a description of us as people, and all of our animals and like everything about our life is just kind of derpy, to be totally honest. And so when we started thinking about a name for a channel, we were like, oh, well, you know, goats are kind of derpy. Like, they're super cute, but they're really derpy. And like, they just do random crap all the time. Like, if you've ever seen videos of like baby goats running around and like jumping on hay bales and stuff, then you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't looked at that, go find a video because it's amazing. But really, it just came from the fact that they're super cute, they're super derpy, and I don't know, we just kind of want something different too.
Yeah.
I really like the videos where they like superimpose the goat yelling over a song. So like,
Yeah.
I think one of my favorites is the "Living on the Prayer" one because they go "yo," and it's just like it's just a goat doing that part.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have a favorite goat YouTube video?
Yeah, so actually I should go back and find it because it's amazing. But there's a video of these little baby pygmy goats running around in pajamas. And it is amazing because they're just like bouncing off of everything and just being derpy, and they're in these cute little pajamas with these cute little designs. I mean, it's hysterical. Like, who put these goats in pajamas and why?
I personally like seeing the ones where they'll like run up to like a sheep and jump on top of it, start riding it, and bounce off of it and stuff.
Yep. Or like a horse or anything. Like they'll jump on anything and ride around. Just want to see the world from up high, I guess.
Yeah. So, anyone who's watched your Q&A special, it's on their channel if you want to see it. You know, you have lots of pets running around.
Yes.
Dogs. How many pets do you guys have?
We currently have 3 dogs, 5 cats, and a horse.
A horse?
Yes.
We do. Yep.
The only non-indoor animal.
Yep. Everybody else lives inside. Everybody else sleeps in our bed. It's a very interesting situation.
Well, I mean, not all of them sleep in the bed.
Not all at once, no.
Yeah, that's true. The 3 dogs always sleep in the bed with us.
And then the horse doesn't sleep in the bed?
No, you know, she tried one time, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah, I got a few animals myself. I got the 3 geckos and a turtle and a dog, and not a ferret yet, but you know, waiting to move out into a bigger home, and you know, before I get that. But
so we don't have goats, so I mean,
I really want goats. Like, the one thing that I really want goats. I really also want a pet fox, even though that's not really technically a thing that I can do, but I really, really want one. But goats are up there. Like, I really want like a little herd of goats, and they can just live out in the pasture with my horse, and everybody will be happy.
Yeah, speaking of pet foxes, there's actually a rescued pet fox at one of the animal not shelters, but there's like those little it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's a you know, where injured animals go and they kind of stay there for either ever or for, you know, a little bit of time. But there's actually a pet fox that lives in there, and it definitely is a cute little guy.
Yeah, like I follow on social media, what is Juniper Fox, and it's just so cute. It's the same thing where Juniper is the fox's name, and she was rescued, I guess, and not able to be released back out into the wild, and so this person now has her, not I guess as a pet truly, but you know, she lives with them and they take care of her and everything. And then they've just recently gotten another fox named Fig, and he's like missing an eye and like a foot, and I mean, he's got some issues, so he can't be released either. So, but it's always really interesting because they'll post little videos of them being silly and pictures and stuff, and so I'm kind of in love with foxes.
So the Q&A special, Hubby Goat got to put his engineer pants on and answer the question that I gave him, which was above and beyond the Call of Duty that I was expecting.
Yeah, I think yours might have been the first question we got, and I was like, all right, that's going to be the last one answered, because that is the best question. Nothing's going to top that.
So do you use the engineer skills daily, or do you guys have different jobs?
Oh, yeah. Well, I use engineering daily because I'm currently pursuing a mechanical engineering degree. So I get to deal with numbers all the time.
Yeah, and then so I deal with numbers, but in a different way. So I work in the world of research administration. So basically helping to get grant money to do a variety of different types of research. So yeah, so dealing with money, but more in a budgetary perspective.
Yeah, not taking this
No.
the surface area of bridges.
For goats.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not my thing.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. So you guys have a wedding anniversary coming up. How long have you two been married, and how long have you been together in general?
20 months. Okay, so June, July, August. So we've been together almost. I mean, we've been married for almost 9 months, and we've been together
For more than 3 years.
Three and a half.
Yeah, 3.5.
It's yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those
Counting's
where, like,
hard on the spot, like trying to figure out, like, okay, how many months away is November? Like,
and I'm sitting here staring at him like, you could have just said we've been married almost a year. It'll be our first anniversary.
but I like to be too
But
specific.
we're gonna make this complicated. So yeah, so it'll be our first wedding anniversary, and then we've been together for about 3.5 years. Which is always really hard to say we've only been together for 3.5 years, because it feels like we've been together a lot longer than that. So I
Yeah.
always want to be like, oh yeah, no, like forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. And I ask every couple who comes on the podcast this question. What is the hardest part of living together under the same roof?
Okay, so I won't say it was hard, but it was just an adjustment. So I unfortunately, like, when I grew up, I didn't really have chores or anything, so like I didn't really know how to conduct myself around the home, I guess. So like when I first moved in with Wifey, she was kind of doing all of the housework, and I didn't really notice it because that wasn't something that I did. I mean, I appreciated it, but at the same time, I wasn't like, oh yeah, like I should take care of that. It was just kind of more like, oh, she's very OCD, so I'm sure she wants to do that on her own and like do it the way that she wants. And that was not the case. She greatly appreciated me helping her.
Yeah.
So now I do a lot of housework and keep her happy. But I don't think it was really a big thing. It was more like, hey, stupid, like, why are you just sitting there? Like, come help me.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, so it was really funny, though, because, like, you didn't know how to do housework either. And so you'd be like, oh, yeah, like, I can vacuum. And I'm like, but you're not doing it right.
Yeah, she'd be like, well, you're not vacuuming the, like, baseboards. I'm like, you vacuum the baseboards?
When you have this many animals, you vacuum the baseboards. Yeah, so for me, I think it's really similar. It's kind of along the same line of what Hubby Goat was saying, but, like, on the opposite end. So, like, I am really OCD, and I like things to be clean, and I like things to be a certain way, like down to the way that like clothes are hung. Like I have an order that I want the clothes hung in, and I mean it's insane. And so I think the hardest thing for me was realizing that my way isn't necessarily the only way to do something, and like it's more beneficial for me to let Hubs help and not have to, like, because I don't need to go back and redo it once it's already been done. And that took me a while to kind of figure out that, like, okay, he didn't fold the towels right. You don't have to refold the towels. Like, just leave it. It's fine. So I think that was the biggest adjustment for me, was just realizing that I am not always right, and it's not my way or the highway. It can be, like, other ways are fine.
I get where both you were coming from, that's for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, before I lived with her, for I guess 2 or 3 years, it was me and 2 other guys for the most part, and I mean that gets to be a bit messy sometimes, and you kind of just get used to it. But
yeah, and I come from like, my mom was like a neat freak. Like, she kept everything just absolutely spotless, and so it was something that, like, my mom would come home, and if we hadn't helped out around the house, she would start, like, unloading the dishwasher that we should have unloaded already, and she'll be, like, slamming plates around, like, to let us know that she's mad. So, like, very different situation. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, my mom would actually start vacuuming at 8 o'clock in the morning to get us.
Oh.
No.
So every time my sister comes home, she lives a state away from us. You know, when she comes back and we all meet, she sometimes stays over at my parents' house. It's always the running joke that she's like, don't start that vacuum at 8 o'clock in the morning, so help me.
Oh, that's too funny. Oh my gosh.
So we were talking about Pokemon recently on the Chronoside Discord, and I was just wondering where your guys' love of Pokemon came from, and which Pokemon games are your favorite.
Okay, so my love of Pokemon came from, I think, I want to say it was the very first game I got for my Game Boy Color, but if it wasn't, it was one of the first. But, not Fire Red, just regular red, yellow, and blue. I had all three of them. I think I got blue first. But I played the crap out of those games to the point that I was like so obsessed with them that my parents got on the old internet back in the day and decided that yeah. I mean, we basically don't have any better than dial-up right now where we're at, but so they got on the internet and learned some like internet myths about Pokemon and decided that it was the devil and that I had to get rid of it. So from the time that before Gold was released all the way until X and Y came out, I was on a required break from Pokemon. But that is where my love for Pokemon came from, was the original, like, the TV show. I used to watch it all the time, and the original games.
Yeah, and so for me, my love of Pokemon comes definitely from the games, and it actually originates with my brother. So growing up, my brother was the first of the three of us to have any sort of game system. And so I think the first one that he had was Crystal. And I'm really, really close to my brother. We're only 2 years apart. So we kind of just grew up liking a lot of the same things. And we would play and he would like give me a turn, like, so he would let me like go beat a gym leader or something, like just give me a turn and then I would give it back and he would have a turn and so on and so forth. And so that was really, I think the next Christmas, like I asked for a Game Boy and so I got a Game Boy Advance and then Game Boy SP. And the first games that I had Sapphire and my brother had Ruby, and we actually would like sit for like hours and hours and hours like on the couch and we would play through it together. And so that was kind of where that came from for me. So Sapphire will forever be my favorite because it's the first one and it's also such a sentimental thing for me.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think we're all gonna have the same answer for this next question, but Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle?
Ooh. Okay, so in terms of like, let's see, Squirtle was my boy. Like I tanked with Blastoise through. I think I chose them for all three. I might not have, just because of the purpose of collecting them all. But I only remember using Squirtle just because he was, so effective in taking out Brock so early on. So I would say Squirtle for me.
Yeah, and so I would say Squirtle for a long time. It would have been Squirtle. More recently, I guess I've just gotten more soft-hearted because I really just prefer most of the time to choose Bulbasaur now because I'm like, oh, Bulbasaur doesn't get enough love. Like, we need to love him. So, so now it's more Bulbasaur, actually, for no reason other than I just feel bad for it.
Completely wrong. I was completely wrong.
Are you a Charmander person?
I'm a Charmander kind of guy. I always chose Charmander as the first Pokemon.
Yeah, I think for me, I fell in love with water types because Vaporeon is my favorite Pokemon of all time. I don't know why, it just is. And so I'm always a little bit more likely to choose a water type than anything else for the starters, like just because of that. Yeah,
and for me it was like, I think I might have chosen Charmander originally, and then as a very small child I was getting wrecked in Brock's gym, and I didn't understand the concept of like, oh, you're gonna have to go grind to like get a higher level so that you could beat them even with a type disadvantage. And so you had Brock and then Misty, who were both super effective against little old Charmander. I was like, screw this, I'm gonna go get Bulbasaur. Like, I mean, not Bulbasaur, Squirtle. Yeah. So.
So I just wanted to play a little game here. Since we're on the topic of Pokemon, I want to play a little game of Goatemon. I want to see how fast you two can put together your top 5 favorite Pokemon of all time. You have to agree on the list, and you have to work together. And you have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Oh god, a combined
A minute and
top
30
five?
seconds. All right, you better hurry up. Go.
Gengar has to be in there.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so Vaporeon has to be in there for you.
Yeah.
So that's 2.
Yeah.
Greninja?
Yeah. No, I mean Greninja's fine. I just wasn't like, I don't know.
Okay, so we both get 2 like of our own picks,
Okay,
and then we
fine.
have to share one.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
All right. Do we have to rank them too?
No, you can just say your favorite
Okay.
5.
just say your favorite. Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
your turn.
All right. Crap. Now I'm blanking on like every Pokemon that ever existed. Okay. Eevee.
Okay, and then I think we can both agree that Pokemon wouldn't be anything without its mascot, Pikachu.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right.
Alright.
Cool.
So that is our 5.
So Pikachu, Gengar, Greninja, Eevee, Vaporeon.
Yeah.
You
Cool.
guys crushed it out of the park. Is there are there any Pokemon that you two kind of butt heads about? Like, you know, Hubby Goat says this one's good, but Wifey Goat says no, that one sucks. Or are you two pretty similar on your tastes?
I don't
That's a
know.
good
I mean, that's a really
question.
good question. I don't know that we've ever been in a situation where we would have had to, I don't know, that we would have had that kind of thing come up.
But if we were to do like a combined playthrough, maybe like
Yeah.
for the channel,
Like,
come
that
up
we,
after
like-
oh, I love this Pokemon. No,
I
that's
know.
awful.
I don't know. I mean, like, so I guess like the closest that, I mean, you saying Greninja and me being like, like
Yeah.
that's kind of the closest that we've ever really gotten to that,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, podcast first.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's a really good question. That's a great idea. Actually, we might have to do that.
Yeah, now that you say that, I'm gonna have to start being like, okay, Wifey, how do you feel about this Pokemon? Like every time we catch one. So
Yeah, I can tell you the Pokemon that we hate, like mutually hate.
All right, real quick.
Okay, Zubat.
yeah.
Here.
And final question for today, guys. Are there any YouTubers that you two look up to?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's a ton of YouTubers that we look up to because it, like we would never have thought to start a channel if we hadn't seen other people doing what we wanted to do. I don't think like it never would have occurred to us to go, oh hey, let's just record ourselves playing games and maybe people will find it funny. So I know for me, like I personally really look up to Jacksepticeye. Not only because I just really like his videos and I really like his content, but I really like the community that he's built. So that's kind of a big one for me. I know Hubs has more than me because he was really in on the YouTube game for longer than me, but that's my big one.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I agree about Jack. We actually went to his tour. I guess that was last month.
Yeah, that was an interesting experience for sure.
It was what you'd expect. It was a bunch of 12-year-old children screaming, being all excited because they were like in the same room as Jacksepticeye. But like it was cool.
Yeah.
For me, I think the biggest inspiration to like as a channel, I love watching the Game Grumps. And that was really what introduced me into like Let's Plays, was because my best friend was like, hey, like watch these guys, you like games, they're cool. And so I watched them, and this was back when JonTron was still part of it, and I kind of like JonTron's videos. And I don't know, it just like when I tried to watch him and Aaron, like it just didn't click with me. But then when Dan came and joined, like to take over John's spot, I gave them another shot, and I just love the dynamic they have going on. And like it seems like they're two best buds just playing games. And like I don't know, that's kind of how I feel when I'm recording for the channel for us, because it's me playing games with my best friend.
Yeah,
That's cool.
And so yeah, I don't know, I just thought that was something that was so cool, and that like people could always turn to for like a laugh and just to maybe like brighten their day. And that's kind of my goal, like as a channel, is to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome. That's really awesome. I kind of had a similar experience. I don't know if Jacksepticeye was there, but I went to PAX West last year, and it was
Cool.
the Crank Gameplays guy, and then Markiplier was there. I think Jacksepticeye was there, and the people we were with, me and my fiance were with, they really, really love that Crank Gameplay guy, And so we went to his little Q&A, and oh my gosh, I had the same experience as you guys. It was a bunch of little kids and like a few of those like 40-year-old moms. And they were there, they were screaming their heads off, and then the Q&A part came up, and they all were asking the same question. And I was like, please just end me now.
It was probably like, what's it like to work with Markiplier?
Yeah.
But hey, I was 2 rows away from the old Marky Moo, which is kind of,
that was a big one for us for a while. I don't know, we've kind of become like disenchanted with his content lately, but that's not really anything to get into. But
the funny thing is, I don't really even like Markiplier or Crank Game Players or any of those guys. I'm not a real big fan of them, but hey, I was there. It was kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today on this episode of the podcast. Just want to thank, once again, Derpy Goats Gaming for coming to the podcast. That's Wifey Goat and Hubby Goat. They are really the goat, if you know what I mean.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It was great.
Not a problem. Like I said earlier, their links will be down below, so make sure you check them out. And also check out their Q&A special if you want to learn a little bit more about them. Anything else you guys want to add before we finish?
No, just thanks again, and thanks for everybody who's watching. We hope you enjoyed it.
Stay derpy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you heard them. Thanks again for watching the episode. I am your host, Yummy the Ferret, and this has been another episode of the Ferret Business Podcast.